The idea with climate change is that we're going to lose some of the more boreal species, you know, your balsam firs, white birch even, that like a little bit of the colder weather, and then species that are a little bit more of a southern affinity, so our red oaks, like the three biggest ones that we always tell everyone that we know are going to do well, or that are predicted to do really well under climate change would be red oak, red maple, and white pine. So that's kind of our native species that there's others that, you know, red spruce, they don't know for sure. Sugar maple, yellow birch it might depend a little bit. They think they're gonna do okay, but then there's species like white oak, which is, you know, they've got bur oak, which is a white oak species in the St. John River Valley. And then white oak's fairly common, especially in like southern Maine and stuff. So it's not terribly far away. But the thinking is that our climate's going to warm so fast that it's not going to move fast enough to basically keep up with it. And is that something that we think eventually it's going to get here anyway? So maybe we'll give it a hand and we'll start to look at plantings. That first one and the next one, nice, gorgeous, straight. So those would be acceptable growing stock. They're probably going to grow a saw log and everything. The next one here in the middle is, you know, it's a little bit squirrely. Maybe it would have a saw log in the bottom, but then it gets pretty crooked and stuff. But in a stand like this one, we've kind of taken the stance that even though it's not acceptable and that it's going to grow a saw log, it's of the species that we want here. There's nothing that says that tree's going to die. It's got decent crown development and everything else. So we call it ecological growing stock. And basically, it's a way of saying it's acceptable, but not under the normal terms of acceptable, that it's going to make a saw log, but it's acceptable for every other reason. It's the right species, it's got good crown development, everything else. It's a healthy young tree. I'm pretty confident we're going to do a harvest on that site. I carry paint with me and paint mark all those trees so that the guys in the harvester know that that's a tree I don't want to see damaged. I want to see it kept for retention, just because, like I say, even with that yellow birch, maybe it's just going to be firewood someday, but it's also just a gorgeous seed source. It's something that's good and wind firm. It probably should hold up through most storms, and it's going to keep some cover on there too. So we're marking a lot of stuff like that. Other ecological growing stock trees might be, you know, a big old aspen that might not stay alive through the next harvest, but I can already see where the woodpeckers are at it. They're developing cavities in the trees, and I think it's going to be a good nest tree or something. We'll call that an ecological one too, in that, sure, it might die, but as long as it stays standing, it's good habitat. It's a nice snag tree. We'll talk a little bit about that with the hemlock woolly adelgid. That's one of the big reasons why we're so worried about it, is the ecological importance of hemlock, especially in shady ravines like that, where they provide the good shade for, you know, a nice trout stream. They're more important than some other species, like in terms of like riparian zones, aquatic health, and everything like that, because just so many of our trout streams and stuff have, you know, beautiful big hemlocks shading them on both sides.